I'll see you guys in 35 seconds. What is going on, guys? It is Wednesday evening, 8:45 p.m. here in Florida. And I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for a quick, rapid 30-minute low-key nothing live stream. So sit back, let's shoot the shit. Whatever's on your mind, man. We don't have to talk about Star Wars. We can talk about whatever you want to. You know how these things go. But welcome to the live stream. I got to go in 30 minutes because my wife will be home in like 30 minutes. She went to her niece's like a sporting event, and I had to put my daughter down for bed. I got to wake up at 5 in the morning, so me and my daughter had a little dad-daughter day, and it was a good time, man. We played a bunch of Candyland before bed in her bed. Took her to dance class. It was a good time. But yeah, man. How's everybody doing? Sammy, Anakin, Dominic, Maxton, Soybean, Caleb, Christopher, AGR, Stuart, Rich, Vince, Kyle. What's going on, everybody? Vince, thank you so much for the first super chat and channel support of this stream. Vince asks, if you could get a revival of one canceled TV series, which would it be? Oh, man. Probably Lost. I'm just kidding. That's a really good question. You know, my first reaction, man, is Firefly. My first reaction is Firefly. But at the same time, I kind of like that Firefly is a one and done. I kind of like that it's just like this tightly packed, tightly knit one season of fun space western, and then poof, it's gone, and then you got a movie. But my knee-jerk reaction is Firefly, because that is, you know, a great show, and it was only one season. And while that is a bummer, it's also nice that it wasn't like run into the ground. You know, it wasn't just run into the ground like so many other shows are. So many other shows just overstay their welcome. But Firefly, like, forever will be unless they redo it in the future, it will forever be cemented as one awesome season. Just one little diamond. You know what I mean? Other than that, you know, I know it's kind of customary for British shows to kind of do one or two seasons. I would love to see another season of Fleabag. We talked about that last stream, I think, Fleabag. That was just such a good show, first and second season. It never wavered, it never faltered, it never got less interesting or less fun to watch. It was consistently great, and I think they could do it for another few seasons and be also consistently great. So probably those two. It's really hard to say, though. I need to think of some other shows that have been canceled. What about you? I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. What about you? And why is it Firefly? Yeah, you were going to predict my answer. I say Firefly, but at the same time, I say not Firefly for the reasons that I just listed. Anyway, man, hope all is well. Cheers. Swishfish, thank you once again. Swish says, almost have my diploma. Hell yeah, just another month and I'll be one happy lady. That's very exciting, and I'm happy for you. It's always like, you know that feeling, like you're anticipating something, you're excited for an event or receiving something, like your diploma, right? And then you get it, and the day is over and you're like, what the hell do I do next? What do I do next? So like, I've had so many of those moments in my life where like I complete something, I accomplish something, and then I sit around and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do something else now. But it doesn't overshadow or make any lesser of the event, you know. But that is awesome. Hell yeah. All that hard work, all that dedication, all that studying, all that headache, all that nonsense to get that piece of paper that unlocks so many opportunities, you know. Just hang in there for another month and you'll be walking on sunshine for sure. But I appreciate that, Swish. Hell yeah, congratulations. This is a pre-congratulations. But hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, you even said Firefly there, Swish. Nice. Hell yeah. It was like 80 degrees here today, Soybean. Like, the high was 80 today. I don't know. Maybe in the morning it'll be like in the 50s. I don't know. It's been pretty weirdly inconsistent the past month. But, what's up, L? Thank you so much as well for the super chat. L says, chilling in Sydney during Australia Day, which doesn't mean too much for me since I'm Mexican, but the holiday is welcome. Cheers, HG. Nice. So, I don't know what Australia Day is. Is that like Australia Day? Australia Day is the official national day of Australia. Okay. Observed annually on January 26th. It marks the 1788 landing of the First Fleet at Sydney Cove and raising of the Union flag by Arthur Phillip following days of exploration of Port Jackson in New South Wales. Ah, that's fun. A little celebratory national holiday. A little patriotism, a little pride. I've never heard of that. I'm sure every single country has a similar holiday, right? I would think so. Maybe not. Maybe some countries are just so goddamn old and have been around for thousands of years that nobody even thinks about the first people of them. You know? Maybe people have just lived in spots around the globe for so long, they're like, yeah, we've just always lived here. We're not going to celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate. We've been here for 10,000 years. What are we going to celebrate? 10,000 years ago, somebody first stepped foot in this desert? That's fun, though. Enjoy it. Have some Australian beer. I don't even know what an Australian beer. Foster's? I bet nobody in Australia drinks Foster's. I bet it's one of those things that, like, Foster's, Australian for beer. Those American commercials, I haven't seen one of those in decades, I feel like. But I bet nobody drinks Foster's in Australia. Is anybody from Australia in the chat that can answer that question? Or that statement? Anyway, cheers, be safe, have fun. Happy Australia Day. Enjoy it. I haven't watched any of the new season of The Bad Batch, so I can't help you there. $40 degrees here in SoCal. Actually, you know what? I should have washed my work jacket. It's disgusting. Damn it. I was going to say, let me look up what the temperature is going to be to see if I need my jacket in the morning. Jacksonville, Florida weather. Thursday. Oh, great. It's going to be like 53 at 6 a.m. Just as I'm getting to work. Actually, no. It's going to be 39. My jacket's like I try to wash. I forgot to wash my jacket. It's hanging up in the garage, My jacket just gets so... Yeah, I come in contact with so many patients. I come in contact with so much heavy equipment, grease and grime, fire and soot. And like my jacket just gets so goddamn disgusting. And I forgot to wash it. Maybe I'll throw it in the washer at work tomorrow. Anyway, Vince, why did I start talking about that? Vince, thank you so much once again for the super chat and channel support. Vince says, some call comedians the philosophers of our time. If you could sit down with any comedian, who would it be and what would you talk about? Ooh, if I could sit down with any comedian. That's tough. Well, you know, not really. I would sit down with George Carlin. George Carlin has, for a long, like 20 years, been my favorite comedian of all time. What would we talk about though? I don't. If I could bring him into the year 2023, and he could have all of the knowledge and all of the understanding of what has happened since his death. I would love to hear his thoughts on just the modern world. I would love to hear his thoughts on the modern world. I don't know what it was about George Carlin. Like growing up, I loved. My daddy said, "Fuck your daddy." Yep. I don't know what it was about him, man, but growing up, I loved listening to him. He was a poet. He was a wordsmith. He was so crafted and concise and precise, rather. Not concise, precise. And his views, you know, he was up there preaching almost, but at the same time, putting funny spins on things. And it's interesting, you know. I watched a George Carlin documentary a few years ago that was produced by what's his name? Funny man who makes funny movies, Judd Apatow. And it was great. Kind of depressing at times, but yeah, George. When I bought his book, Last Words, I feel like a couple months before he died. Yeah, it is interesting watching his early stuff and seeing how he evolved, for sure. From like the hippy dippy weatherman to, you know, his later HBO specials, you know, just ranting and raving and yeah, it was yeah, he's just one of my all-time favorites. I'm with you, Soybean says Bill Burr is one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites as well. But if in terms of somebody who I would want to sit down with and or hear their, I don't know, Carlin is like, I don't know, he's more than a comedian to me. There's a lot of comedians that make me laugh, a lot of comedians that I like, but nobody like George Carlin, who he was funny, he was a comedian, but at the same time, he had something to say, and that something to say was always quite interesting, you know? But yeah. Anyway, cheers, Vince. That's my goddamn answer. My daddy said, "Fuck your daddy." Yeah. Yeah, SM, I'm going to be playing Jedi Survivor at some point. It comes out in March, right? I'm planning on getting it. I'm planning on streaming it when I can. Yeah, you guys know me. I don't really plan my streams, but maybe for that one, maybe for Jedi Survivor streams, I will plan them more in advance. Because it'll be kind of an event, right? New Star Wars game. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think I'm more excited for the other Star Wars games that just have not been really revealed all that much yet. Like the Ubisoft open world Star Wars game. I'm really curious about that. Or the what is it? Star Wars Eclipse. I want to know more about that, you know. But the mystery of the what if and what is it going to be really hammers home the excitement for me, you know. I stayed up really late. Really late for me, as in like to 12:30. But I stayed up last night. I worked on a video after my wife went to bed, sat at the computer, worked on a video for a couple hours, and then crawled into bed, grabbed my Kindle, and I was like, I need something new to read. And I bought the second book in the latest Thrawn. What is it called? The first one was just Thrawn. The second one is called Thrawn Ascendance? What? Thrawn Ascendancy or Alliances. Which one's the second one? Thrawn. Well, which one is it? Thrawn Ascendancy? No, Thrawn. I gotta look this up. Somebody's in the chat's gonna answer it before I even answer it. Thrawn. Yep. Thank you, Stuart. Thrawn Alliances. Yep. Thrawn Alliances. So I bought that. I read 10% of it last night, laying in my bed, and I'm excited. I was in the mood for a new Star Wars book, so I bought it, and it's on sale for like $5 on the Kindle. So I'm excited to jump into that further. I didn't know which Star Wars book I wanted to read. I was debating about rereading because the original like Shadows of the Empire book, because I hadn't read that since I was a kid. But I was like, you know what? I know that story. I'm gonna read something new that I haven't read yet. You know. Yeah, I was Jedi Master Troy. He says the High Republic book series has been pretty great. Yeah, I was debating about getting that too, but I figured, you know, I read the first Thrawn book, and I thought it would be best to kind of maybe try to finish that trilogy before I move on to, you know, more different stories and whatnot. But eventually I'll get around to it. Probably 10, 15 years from now. Dude, I got Cyberpunk like December 13th. It was an early Christmas present. And I've only logged like 3.5 hours in it. That is a good example of how little video gaming time I have. I wish I had more, but like, so on my days off, you know, I work 24 on and then 48 off, and those 48 hours, I could sit on the couch, and play video games, but I usually am. Whenever I get off shift, I always go for a 4-mile run, and then the next day I do an intense workout, and then I do shit around the house, and then maybe I'm working on a video or watching my daughter, or doing some errands. Most of the time, none of that shit is pressing, and I could just sit on the couch and play Cyberpunk for like 6 hours until my wife and kid gets home. Maybe even so. Like I said, my wife is at our niece's basketball game right now, and me and my wife my daughter stayed at home. And I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stream and then work out while you're gone, after she's in bed, after our daughter's in bed. And she said, just relax. Why don't you relax? And I said, I don't like to relax. I don't know why. I'm too antsy. I can't stop moving. I always got to be doing something. It probably drives my wife crazy. I always got to be doing something. Even if that something is a basket of goddamn laundry that I don't want to do, I always got to be doing something. You know. No, I've never read Ready Player One. Never have. The latest book that I read was Project Hail Mary, and I loved it. It's great. One of my favorite books of all time. No exaggeration. One of my favorite books of all time. Yeah, it's not even. Jedi Master Troy says, "Gotcha. I'm the same. Focus on one series at a time." I'm like that with TV shows, or we try to be. You know, we don't want to start a new series without finishing the series that we're watching. But when it comes to books, especially Star Wars books, like if I read a Star Wars book, I can't read a Star Wars book after I read a Star Wars book. I don't know why. Like, after I read a Star Wars book, I'm like, all right, I'm in the mood for something else now. So I read the Thrawn book, the first one, I think around the time that it first came out. So when was that? Like 20... Let's see. Thrawn... let's see. Thrawn Alliances. The first one, Thrawn. Let's see when that came out. 2018. So I read the first Thrawn book in 2018. And yeah, so now I'm just now reading Thrawn Alliances. So yeah, I haven't read a Star Wars book in a couple of years. The last one that I read was Bloodline, and I really enjoyed it. But Oscar Rodriguez, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Oscar says, I hope you like short stories. I just finished 20th Century Ghosts by Joe Hill. 15 little period pieces. Some are supernatural, others are mundane. Let's see. 20th Century Ghosts. A collection of short stories. It was first published in 2005 in United Kingdom. Interesting. Yeah, I do have a few books of short stories. I think most of them came from my dad. At one time, he gave me a few books, and a couple of them were short story books. I haven't read, like, a book of short stories in a very long time. Shit, man, probably since deployment in 2010. That's probably the last time that I picked up, like, a book of short stories. I usually don't get into supernatural stuff, or... I think just because that kind of stuff seems a little goofy to me, but I think maybe in story form, if it's not trying to present itself like a legitimate, you know, oh, I saw something, you know, but then I could probably get into it. But yeah, maybe I'll pay. It looks pretty damn cheap. Oh, do you remember Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Do you remember that book? When did that come out? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Oh yeah, they made a movie. Is that any good? Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know, Oscar, are you old enough to know Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Publication date, 1981 to 1991. But I remember reading those books in elementary school. Oh, nice, you do. Sweet. The movie actually has a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. When it comes to scary movies and horror movies, that's pretty fucking solid. Wow. Maybe I'll have to check this out next Halloween. I'm intrigued. Huh. But yeah, I remember like I probably like elementary school reading the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book, and I'm looking at pictures right now. There were pictures on the inside. Like, it's so, like, the illustrations are so creepy and weird. And there's like charcoal sketches, you know, just make you feel weird, you know, the drawings in those books. It's a hard to explain feeling. Like, it's not outright scary. It's just the illustrations. You look at it and you just feel icky. You know? You just feel a little icky. It's interesting. Anyway. It's a great children's horror movie too. Alright, yeah, maybe we'll check that out. Maybe we'll check that out. We always debate what to watch around Halloween, and I forgot they made this. Maybe we'll check it out. Coraline levels of creepiness, not Goosebumps like. Actually, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so, I went in my parents' attic, Oscar, and I was just looking for some of my old shit, and I found a big plastic bin full of Goosebump books. I took a picture of it on Instagram, posted it, but like I was just like, hell yeah, I used to read the hell out of those books. Those books, like so many people of my generation, so many kids of my generation, those books kind of got me, and like I said, so many kids of my generation, to get into reading. You know, they were easy reads, they were fun, they were relatively short. Yeah. Anyway. Vince, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. I greatly appreciate that. Probably the last super chat and channel support of the stream before I jet. We've gone over 30 minutes. Yeah, I want to throw some weights and kettlebells around before the wife gets home. Vince says, hard hitters tonight. Describe your writing process for Sorry About the Mess. Available now on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. And will you write again? So the writing process. Yeah. So when did that come out? 2019, I think? In 2019. So for like a couple years before that, I was taking random college classes at a local community college, and I purposefully, so I would take a class at like, I don't remember the exact times, but I would take a class at like 11 in the morning, and then that would end at like 1 maybe, and then my next class wasn't until, maybe it was earlier than that, but I scheduled 2 classes in a day with a 4-hour break in between those classes. And what I would do, I would take my laptop out to one of the picnic tables, and I would sit there for literally 4 hours with headphones on, just typing away, and eventually it kind of like formed a book. I started like categorize. It was like I selectively did that. Most people want classes back to back to get the fuck home, you know? But I selectively did that. What else was I going to do? I selectively wanted that block of time so I could write videos, work on the book and stuff like that. I did that for, I don't know, a couple of years. And yeah, that was my process. Those couple of years is when I really wrote a lot. And then when I moved in with me and my wife and my daughter moved in with my parents, because we sold our first house and we were building our new house. So for 6 months we lived with my parents while that house was being built. And in those 6 months is when I really kind of took all those chapters that I had written and really whittled it down and really spent some time not completely rewriting, but editing, major editing. And yeah, so I guess my process, that's such a douchey word. Maybe it's douchey to me just because I'm some dipshit on the internet with a helmet on who happened to have some time to write a book. But I guess it all boiled down to me just carving out time and saying, this is your writing time. This is the time that you are writing, And there was no backing out because I was stuck. I was stuck at the school. What was I going to do? I had like an hour to drive home. So what? I'm going to drive home for an hour and then I have to drive right back to the school to go to my next class. I didn't want to do that. So I was stuck. I'd bring my lunch and I forced myself to have that time to write. And it was good just because, when you got nothing else to do, I would write. I wrote videos. I worked on the book and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And will I write again? I would love to maybe try to tackle some fiction. I maybe when I'm older and my daughter's older and I have more time and I got some years in the fire department and I can just fuck off to a bunk and bring my laptop and nobody would care, Can't really do that when you're one of the lower guys on the totem pole. Maybe I'll try to write some fiction. That'd be kind of fun. But anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. All right, guys, I got a jet. So yeah, what is today? Wednesday. Got to work tomorrow. Friday, I won't be able to do anything. I probably won't see you guys till next week. Hoping to have a video up by next week, but we'll see. It's not topical at all. Trust me. The video topic is a topic from 1996. So you guys know me. There could be new Star Wars shows come out, but I'm going to make something that's going to get no views because nobody cares. But I care. And the things that are old, I find interesting that nobody cares about. Anyway. All right, guys. I got to go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over 30 minutes. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. And I'll see you later. See ya.